The three of you aren't really alive yet. You've never been alive before. You're coming into existence and somehow aware of it. The world around you seems to fade inwards. And the first thing that you see in front of you is a glass screen, cylindrically shaped around your personage. And slowly it pulls from left to right open, revealing a rather dark room. Almost involuntarily, you feel yourself compelled to step out as if it's not even up to you, and you go down about a step. Your foot hits the ground, clang of metal against metal, and you hear two other clangs from other parts of the room as your perception adjusts to the dark room that you currently are in. You see two other people that you somehow know look exactly like you, except people's really a strong word for it. You guys know that they're robots. They are bipedal. They have spherical heads with one kind of visor-like lens on the front, very wide horizontal, not tall at all. In fact, I would say it's probably maybe 2 inches high, but it spans the majority of their spherical front, going down into parts that somehow you intuitively do not you know that they are not particularly strong. It seems like the minimum required for bipedal movement, rather skeletal, minimal plating. However, there is a sheen to it as the metallic surfaces reflect the lights in the room, of which you can note that there are 4. There is a darker foresty green light. There is a light blue cyan. There is a fadey yellow light. And there is a dark red light as well in this room. Each of these lights are coming not only from their respective robot, but they are also coming from the machine that you have stepped out of and a little device that is beside it on the side. And as you stand for a moment, you hear kind of what sounds like a speaker or megaphone come on, and you hear in a bright female voice. I call it female. That's what we recognize it as. Not like your character has any understanding of such a concept. Welcome to Enonel Indiv facility. This will be your shuttle hub. Please find your way to the corresponding 3 hubs for basic training. What do you want to do?
Well, let's get a move on. We've got some instructions. Let's go.
As you say this, by the way, it comes out of not the best speaker on your body. Probably as good as your mic sounds, to be honest. But it projects itself into the room, and Chris and Gordian, you two both understand this as well.
I stretch, kind of take in my surroundings.
Uh-huh. You notice that there are 4 chambers, 3 of which have been stepped out of, but there is a 4th. Each of the chambers are pressed against a wall. It's not the biggest room in the world. It's probably about the size of, I don't know, a living room type room, but it's all metal, and it's mostly dark except for these neon lights. Each of the robots, by the way, have, from their visor and from a small, kind of large LED on their chest, they are emitting these lights as well. You want to see the fourth pod?
Check it out.
Yeah.
You walk over to look at it, and inside, in kind of what appears to be like a viscous liquid bubbling slightly, there is another robot that looks just like the 3 of you. By the way, by each of these pods, there is what looks to be a little terminal.
Is there an interface for the terminals? Displaying anything?
Yes, there are keys, and it is not displaying anything currently.
Can I type help
On which one?
The one that has the robot floating in it.
Okay, yeah, you walk up to it, and as soon as you type a key, at the top of the terminal, you see a little scanner start to activate, and it says, "Please reveal hex code."
I put my face against the scanner.
And the terminal shuts off again.
Do we know our hex codes?
Yes, you do. You know your exact hex code somehow.
I come up to the terminal and press the pound key.
Okay, yeah, you walk up and you press a key, and as soon as you do, you hear the same voice clip, which is, "Please enter hex code."
So I hit the number 4.
You hit 4, and the terminal lights up with a pound sign, and then a 4 has been input. It's blinking on the screen. There's a cursor in front of it.
And then I put in the rest.
You put in the rest, and it thinks for a second. It goes,
I look at the one in the guy inside the tube again.
Yeah, would there be a way of us finding out what the guy in the tube's hex code is? Presumably we can just see that and work it out.
What do they look like, first of all?
They look just like you.
But with no lights?
No light is on currently, no.
So you said there's 4 of us, right?
There are 3 of you in the room, and the 4th is in the pod that you're looking at right now.
You said something about dark red. Or...
Yeah, each of your pods is emitting the same light that you're emitting. This pod is emitting a dark red tone.
But the guy is not emitting.
The guy is not. That's
Okay.
correct.
So would we be able to know what? Would we be able to know what the hex code for the red is?
No, not intuitively. Also, Ben knocks on the glass, and you hear the knock, but there is no motion or movement.
How many doors are there again?
There are no doors. 4 terminals, each by your pod, and there is a strong central pillar in the middle of the room that is made of some kind of monitor. It's like wrapped around it.
All right, let's check out that.
If we've only been interacting with the red guy's monitor so far, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to input my own hex code into my own monitor.
You walk over to your monitor, and you input your hex code into it, and you hear ding, and the woman says, "Please scan your identification." And the word comes up as it says it, and it's indivs-ification. INDIV-ification.
Would I know what that is?
Yes, not intuitively, but you're smart enough to understand that you are an indiv, which you know for a fact, and the scanner is about chest height for you.
So presumably, when it says that, I would assume that it would be scanning my light, which is coming out of my chest. Yes.
Yeah, but you haven't put your chest there yet.
Yeah, but I would stick my chest against it.
You do that, and there's another positive ding, and your terminal lights up much brighter. Your section of the room kind of has a nice blue glow to it now from your terminal.
I guess I go copy his actions at my terminal.
You do this as well, and your terminal roars to life, kind of a low hum coming out of it, and then returns to kind of a default DOS-like screen with a couple options on it. Check builds, input realm code, input hub code, input pub code.
Let's check build.
You want to check builds?
Yeah.
You click check build, and it returns the current specs and name of the build you have right now. Can you remind me of the name of this build?
Helot.
Yeah, Helot build.
Helot.
It just says Helot, and then it has all of your current specifications that you have in your character sheet currently. Right at the bottom of the build, it has Enonil and like a little copyright symbol.
While this is going on, can I be looking at the tube screen again? First of all, you said it's black lights.
That's correct, yeah.
Is it covered with like a shiny, like a glass sort of screen, or is it like LEDs?
It's covered with a glass sort of screen.
Okay. Well, I give up on that, and I go do the same thing that they had done.
Check builds, input realm codes, input hub codes, input pub codes.
I'm gonna go to hub codes.
As you do, the room gets a lot brighter as the central pillar comes on, and around the top there's a little spinning text that crawls around the top of it that reads out the shuttle hub. The shuttle hub is 2 words, but shuttle hub is 1 word. And then on it there are 3 independent strings of characters, each about 10 long. When you look at your terminal screen for input hub codes, you see what looks like a search bar.
Type in the first one.
So Ben says aloud, do the first one.
Yes, I'm yelling at you.
Okay.
That seems reasonable. I just do the first one.
Okay. You input that carefully, and then the cursor's blinking after it. Do you want to hit the enter key?
Do it.
Okay, yeah, I do.
As you do this, right next to the terminal, in the color of your light, lines trace up from the ground about a body width apart, and around the top of your head, they kind of come out of the wall as if there are LEDs kind of emerging from it. 2 of them come out of the top and the right-hand side inwards to create a makeshift door handle, kind of an indention into it. So you have like a door that's outlined in your color.
I try to open his door.
You try to open his door, you run over real quick, and you yank it, and it budges fast. You can't open it.
I just kind of stare at him for a second.
Okay, then I go repeat the process on my terminal.
I haven't even done anything with the door. I'm just watching him at this point.
While all this is going on, I haven't really been paying attention. I wanted to look up my current build, which is Halliard or whatever, Hallod. And I wanted to see if there were any other options or anything else that I could find on that screen.
Yeah, absolutely. You notice at the top of the screen, right above the 𝚜𝚎 model, it's formatted in such a way where 𝚜𝚎 is kind of listed right at the top, and then there's a line, and then there's an empty space and a line, and an empty space and a line across the screen, and it ends with a little ...
Is this happening at the same time Ben is being wacky?
Yeah, I've just been hunched over doing my own thing, not paying attention.
Ben, you want to try your door?
Yep.
It opens, and there is, in the door frame, what looks like a kind of liquid. In your color, gently glowing with your color, but it's translucent, although you can't manage to see through it for some reason. It just seems like there's nothing on the other side except darkness, but the surface has these ripples to it as it kind of glosses over these gentle waves on the surface.
I dive through.
Oh, great. Ben, as you dive through, you fall onto the ground in a much more well-lit room this time. Let me tell you exactly what you see in this room. It's actually not very big. And in fact, I don't think you'd be able to make out the lighting source if you looked. It seems almost blank. In fact, the 2 walls to your sides are completely blank. In front of you is another door, much like the one that you just opened, except there are no lights around it or on it. By the side, there is not a terminal like you've seen before, but a terminal in the wall. And right beside it, there is what appears to be some kind of sensor, but it is not lit up in any kind of way. But it looks like your sensor, which is to say a head, kind of impressioned into the wall by this other terminal here, and a door with no light.
I knock on the sensor.
You knock on the sensor, and it says, "Please insert identification for Enonil system network."
I try putting my chest against it.
You put your chest against it, and the thing, by the way, the head kind of looks around like until it finds your chest and locks on, gives a quick scan, and says, "Designation." Please state designation.
Safety.
It says, "Welcome, safety." And the door, same color as yours as before. Now that door is on for you. Also, the sensor says through its shitty speaker again, 400 lumens have been transferred to your battery by the Colonel. Nothing appears to happen for you besides the door lights up your color. I also want to
Thank you, Colonel.
I also want to specify two more things. One, the door behind you, if you looked for it, isn't there. It's just a blank wall. On top of that, I want to describe the scene from Gordian and Chris's perspective here in the room. Chris is probably doing his own thing, but Gordian...
Yeah, I'm still looking at my own screen. Do we hear, like, a thud when he lands in the room below?
You do hear a thud. Not from the other room, but from this room, because the robot that was Ben is lying on the ground without having ever gone through the door.
He jumped, he dove through the thing,
Yes.
and he just fell backwards.
He hit it like it was solid, and he just is on the ground now. He has no light anymore. He is now lightless.
I kick it.
Yeah, yeah, like how hard?
Soft.
Soft kick. It basically a nudge. He complies with your foot.
This is
More.
revenge for Knack, isn't it?
More.
Ben, when he kicks you like that, somehow you feel it, and you get kicked in the room that you're currently in, which, by the way, you are somehow aware is called Puzzle Hub, all one word.
Oh boy.
I hold up my fist and I like spin around ready to fight someone.
There's no one there.
Okay.
I'm hearing that something's
Uh-huh.
fallen down and he's being kicked. So I sort of turn around and ask what the hell is going on.
So he's just looking at me.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell?
Well, I didn't do it. I'm just
Well,
gonna back
you
away.
look like you kicked him. You certainly did something.
No. Look, he touched the thing. Look, I don't know what he did. All I know is I'm not doing it.
I reach out to touch the liquid thing.
It's completely solid. And as you go out to touch it, actually, the door makes kind of a sound, and the door starts to close slowly. And if you don't move your hand, rock in a hard place situation.
Yeah, if it's moving slowly, I will quickly sort of rap on it, so
Uh-huh.
tap it with my knuckles just to see if there's any sort of give.
It would feel
Knocking
like
on the
you're
liquid.
hitting the wall beside the liquid. There is something that you should notice here about the pod that's beside the door. The lights get kind of more intense and brighter for a second. And at the top of the pod, you can see a screen that you previously didn't notice now has the number 400 on it with an L.
So to be clear, from our end, we literally didn't see anything fishy. Like he just banged his fucking head against the wall, and now he's dead.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game over, man.
I'm feeling slightly traumatized right now. You know,
You wanna switch
I
back to
feel like
Ben?
I'm shut in this room.
Yeah, of course. Ben,
So what's around me? There's a terminal, you said?
yeah, it's the head terminal. What looks like a standard terminal here, except it's got a screen that just says Enonil, like a, serif font, all caps, very nice kerning, and then a door with your color, but is now lit up after you designated yourself as safety.
Alright, well I guess I'm charging full speed into that one too.
It's not open.
I-
You bump into it, and
I'm not sure this is a good idea. When he did it, he collapsed and seemingly died, and I don't want to be left here alone.
What? Of course I won't. I don't know what this is,
Alright.
but I don't want it to stop. Here, I'm gonna do number 2. And then I do number 2. Code number 2, if it's still on the screen.
you go over to your terminal, right? You've already entered the first code, right?
Oh yeah, the door was all primed and everything, but I didn't open it.
Yeah,
If I can, go to a different code. Number 2.
you backspace. You have to do that actually, and until the search bar is blank and the color is gone from it. The door is starting to recede. You enter the second code and you enter it, and the door does the same thing. It zooms back to life. It looks identical as far as you can tell.
I look at blue guy. And
Alright, hi, hello.
He
So-
waves, I'm sure.
So it looks like they're the exact same.
Uh-huh.
That's weird.
Well, you're not making facial expressions, but you convey it with body language.
Well, no, I'm saying I did something and it had the same result, and it's like, oh, what are we doing
Yeah.
now?
That's exactly
Well,
right.
so to clarify, second code did the same as the first code.
That is correct.
I go up to Ben's body again,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
I kind of grab it by the leg and see how heavy it is.
It is... Somehow you know it's exactly 10 pounds.
Can I lift 10 pounds?
I mean, like, yeah, a little bit. It's pretty heavy, but especially because it's connected to the rest
Okay,
of him.
if it's
yeah.
any level of effort, then I'm not doing it. I just get on the other side of him and start not kicking, but like pushing him across the room with my legs, until we get to my door, and I just kind of shove him
Well,
through.
Ben, by the way, on your end, I want to go ahead and say what's going on. Ben, you said you were messing with the 𝚜𝚎𝚜𝚗 terminal here.
Yeah.
You've already logged into it, so you click it, and interestingly, it's your screen and shuttle hub, but the background of the screen is slightly different. There's kind of a nice industrial-looking border on this screen as well. It's a different color. It's like kind of a nice gray, but it's the same options. It's check builds, input realm codes, input hub codes, input pub codes, and the last one, though, there's a new one, and it says check battery.
Let's check battery real quick.
It says 400L available. Also, by the way, you're starting to get kicked, and it's bumping you across the room.
So I can feel it like getting moved.
Yeah, viscerally.
Can I like control myself? Like, can I stay stable?
You try, but it doesn't work too well. You have to grab something.
Okay, I guess I grab the terminal.
You do this, and the head on the wall kind of turns slightly and goes like, and it says like, you might want to switch to the other build.
How do I do that?
It doesn't respond.
Okay, I go back to the hub code entry. I enter in the second code that I saw.
Okay, you do so. You go to hub codes and you enter in the second code, and to the right of that door that was there is now a second door that kind of comes into existence, and it looks identical, of course, but the second door is now there as well with the second code.
So you said something about checking build. I guess I see what that option does.
Yeah, you backspace and you go up to check build, and you can see 𝚜𝚎𝚜𝚗 build just the same as before, but now there is kind of right below it at the very top of the screen, kind of the menu element. There's 𝚜𝚎𝚜𝚗, and then there's another thing that says 𝚜𝚎𝚜𝚗, but it's got 2 by it. The top one is underlined, the second one is not.
I guess I picked the second one.
Yeah, you hit the arrow key and bring down the second one, and you hit enter. And as you do, you are on the ground looking up at somebody kicking you.
Do I get to see what happens when his body collides with the door, or is it the last second?
It just pushes up against it.
Oh, boring. And then I just keep doing it just to be sure, and then he wakes up. Okay.
Sir, please.
So the lights come on, and I just jump back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
jeez.
so how things look? Seems like we've got multiple bodies spread throughout this multiverse, whatever we're in, and we can switch between them. I went to another room.
Another room. Can we get to your room? Because it seemed to me that I couldn't enter your room through the liquid that knocked you out. So clearly we're not
At the same
allowed
time
to...
as he's saying this, I'm just not paying attention, and I'm putting in my code for the for the second hub. Actually, I already did that, right? I just step over him. He's presumably still on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just lying on the floor talking to them.
As soon as I touch it, I'm done, right? Because he dove.
You want to walk through it?
I sort of put my leg over him. If he doesn't get out of the way, I just kind of like carefully step over
You
him.
need to pick a name. No,
What?
go to the first room. It's a name thing. You got to do your name.
Well, he
The
can't
whole
say
thing.
all of that in that
They pay
space.
you for it.
It's too late. I touch it with my foot. So I just want to clarify something because he dove. If I just do it at a very slow velocity, what happens?
How are you interacting with this liquid?
He jumped. I just sort of walk.
Test the water, like big toe kind of thing, or what?
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, you put your foot through, and it's like you're putting your foot into like a viscous liquid. Your foot breaks through into something.
I'm gonna put my foot through, pull it out, and then go all the way through.
Yeah, you walk through. So you walk through, right? I'm gonna change the music. See if I can get something a little nicer. See how this sounds. Gordian, you walk through, and you just walk straight into a new room.